Coach Sully, you're now entering your fourth season. What goals do you have for you and your team on and off the court?
Well, I'll start off the court first. The girls kind of touched on it a little bit. We have 8 new players to go along with 5 returners. So obviously priority number 1 this summer was the team coming in and getting to know each other. In the recruiting process, we spend a lot of time as a coaching staff with these young ladies and their families. We try to bring in people that will fit well with what we already have. They fit with our culture, but also you have to help them with the transition. So that was a lot of our 8 weeks this summer, was helping them acclimate themselves, spend time with one another, staff retreats, team retreats, things like that. Really get after it in the weight room. I think the transition has been pretty smooth. I think they've done a terrific job. I think it starts with bringing in really good people. So that was priority number 1, getting the players to know each other. Our goal this year is to make sure we start and end the season feeling like a family, but the work that goes into that. So that was the biggest goal off the court, and I think we're in a good spot. On the court, I mean, it's a lot. It's a lot of different people. The players touched on a little bit the chemistry that comes with it. This is the type of team that will need to play together to be successful. I think we get some really good pieces on both sides of the ball. I think we're big on the perimeter and inside, which is exciting. And I think as we get into conference play, this could be a really dangerous team, but it'll take time. So just giving the players the confidence and the patience to know that it will take time, but their buy-in has been great. They've shown up every day and practice hard, which we strive to do, not have bad practices. And so I'm really excited about this group overall.
And now, how are you intending on using the non-conference schedule to really ensure that team gels together well prior to heading into conference play?
Well, a lot of different ways. Some of these schools that we scheduled, some of them mimic a little bit what we'll see in the American Conference. We come right out the gate hard. We'll go to Florida, November the 4th, which we're excited about that challenge. I think it'll be great for us. I think it'll be great for our fans. Going to Gainesville, really excited about that for our team. We played 15 overall home games this year, a few of them in the non-conference, which will be great for a young team. Some of our kids are pretty young to play at home, some to kind of get acclimated. But and then going into Christmas break, we have a tournament at Grand Canyon. We'll play 3 games in 4 days, and I think that's a good situation to be in to kind of replicate the conference tournament a little bit early on and kind of see where we are.
You mentioned the young players. Have there been any struggles with that coming into the season or even the postseason?
Knock on wood, not too many. Usually December is when I start seeing some real homesickness. We have 5 freshmen. One of our freshmen is from Sweden, and she started in August because she played with her national team this summer. She's hit the ground running. Lavisa's been terrific. We have 2 freshmen from Georgia. Aaron Rodgers and Amaya Lewis, and they've been terrific. I think the summer for Amaya was an adjustment from the high school that she came from, but she came back in the fall and just really hit the ground running. And Sydney Maines, Miss Basketball out of the state of Tennessee, state championship winner. She really had a terrific year so far. I think the biggest thing with all of them, very confident kids, come from really great high character families. They also have won stuff. We always try to recruit players that have won a state championship. They could be in basketball, volleyball, track. As long as you have won and played late into the spring, all of these freshmen have, and I can tell the difference already.
And then for Perry and Lauren, who we just spoke to,
Yeah.
how important have they been to getting younger players in?
They've been terrific. Maya or Jada won, they mentioned in the spring. So whenever the season ended last year, we reflected back on a lot of things that took place. You know, I think there were some highs, but I think we did not give all that we could as a team. Left a lot out there in our first year in the American. So as a team, we talked about what changes we want to make, and it was really cool to do that with our 5 returners before the new people came. This is your team. You have ownership over this locker room. What do you want it to look like? And they did a great job of communicating what they wanted from our team. And they held each other accountable to that. So when the new players came in, they communicated clearly. We want to have a family environment. We want to be great in the locker room. We want to show up every day and practice at a high level. And they have been consistent in doing their job to make sure that happens. So I'm really proud of them. All of this experience. Jada's obviously in her last year. Maya's still relatively young as a junior, but I think they're going to be terrific leaders for us this year.
And what steps do you think will be critical in gathering just success for the team this season, but specifically in conference play as well?
Well, the biggest struggle for us last year was physicality of the league. So teams in the league that were not super physical, that kind of matched up with us, I think we were competitive with if we did not win the game. Sometimes we won. The physical teams in our league, the North Texases, the Memphis, the Temples, we just struggle with the physicality of those teams. And so for me as a coach, I would circle those games on the schedule knowing that's going to be a struggle going into it. The goal is not to think that going into these games, that we're going to be just as physical, if not more than those teams ahead of time. So that's kind of what our goal has been, is to not let ourselves get tossed around despite the size. Again, I mentioned we're a pretty big team. Our tallest kid is 6'6" inside, and then our guards are Jada and Maya's height, 5'10", 5'11" guards. So from a size standpoint, I think we'll check that box. Physicality will be the key to working on the weight room.
So, what have you guys been prioritizing during practices, like when you new players and investment?
Oh, great question. Learning the terminology, learning our system has been a big priority. It's kind of interesting every year when you bring in new players and you're teaching them something completely different, having to break the habits of where they came from. Not because they're necessarily bad, it's just different. And so that's been huge. Make sure they understand our system, whether it's on offense or defense, and then implementing those things and how to speak our language, how to talk the way we talk on the court. And then also, again, back to the physicality. With some having 5 freshmen, that's been an adjustment for them, how fast-paced the game is, and the bang, the hitting, that's been tough for them. But they're rising to the occasion. They fall down, they get back up again. That's what we want. So.
And one last question. So we are currently working on a story just to kind of gauge how politically engaged student athletes are. Is that a topic that players ever come to you and ask for advice on?
Politically engaged?
Yeah.
Well, we actually gauge our players in that conversation. I don't know how engaged they were initially, but today was the last day for voter registration. And so the last 2 weeks, we've got all of our players registered to vote. They are all registered, whether it's absentee ballots or not. But it's just important. They need to understand what it's about. That's something that I think my assistant coaches do a great job of, having conversations with them, understanding how it works, whether it's locally or on the national stage. And so we're proud of that, that the goal is when they leave here, that they're going to really serve and be a part of the community. I think that starts with coaching.
I think this spring, it really started. We knew who all was coming back, and we knew the people coming in as well. And so in the spring, we really started to build our foundation. We created pretty much the environment we wanted all the new people to come into. So it was very team-oriented, focusing on our goals, the kind of culture we want everyone to come into. And so really, everyone really bought into that was here. And then when everyone got here, all the new 9 people, or is it 8 people? All of the 8 new people also bought into that culture as well.
And Jada, now that you're in your senior year, what do you really hope to accomplish, personally, this year?
Personally, I mean, I've really only thought about team goals, how I want the team to look, but personally, I really think I want to take big strides and just going for all conference, any kind of conference team, and just really making sure I go out my last year without any regrets and playing as hard as I can every game.
This question is for the both of you guys. What are you both looking forward to this coming season?
This coming season, I think I'm really looking forward to all the new faces and what everybody else can bring to the team. As we said, we have 8 new players, and I think everybody brings something that we need. And I think it'll be good to be able to see what every single piece combines and how we bond on the court. And I think everybody's willing to, add and work into it. So I think it's going to be a good season.
Now that you're entering your second season at FAU, what did you learn from last year that you're going to try and implement this year?
I think this year I just want to have more of a positive leadership role. I am still young, but I do think I have a couple years on people. So I think being able to be a little bit knowledgeable for the younger people coming in and helping them, adapt to college basketball.
Is there anything specific that you're trying to figure out from the doc, or just general being there?
Just general being there, being a positive voice for them, helping them on the court. It is a very big adjustment, so I think just being able to help one another in any aspect if they come to you with any questions.
Last season, you both had a really good number all around, both of you. So for Jada, you had 12 double doubles last season, and then for ranked third in three field goal percentage. What do you guys believe for this upcoming season will be the outlook from you guys, but also the younger players coming up?
I think each season we just work on getting better and improving from last year. So yes, what we did was great last season, but I think the sky's the limit. So just really improving and building on what we did last year. And from the new young people coming in, we do also have some older. I just really think pushing them to know their potential. Like we really make them feel welcome and needed here because we need each and every person that we brought in. And so really helping them buy into that and just really lock in on the goals we have for this season will help us achieve everything we can.
So this is for the both of you. What do you think these worked on before the season opener? Is there anything specific?
I think honestly with every team, it's chemistry and bond. Being able to learn each other's strengths and weaknesses is going to help us, be able to navigate through the season. I think, for me, I always think defense is the biggest thing, and you can always work on it no matter how good you are at it. So I think defense will definitely be our focus point this year.
Jada, last season you led the Owls in assists. What do you plan on doing this season to make yourself better?
Sorry, I did not know that. I really think as someone who is main focus of my game last year was slashing. I think it has created opportunities to really not only create for myself but others as well. So just making sure I make all the right decisions, whether it's shooting the ball or hitting my open teammate or anything like that. So I think just building on that and continuing to be unselfish and making the right play at the right time.